Hello and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we review a character from MCP every week. Today, I'm your interim host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Steven.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? We got the crew back together for the first time in a little while.
No. I am not part of the crew. That's Jared. I'm just a substitute.
I was just about to ask. We've not heard from
We're-
Jared in a long time. Are you sure you're still the interim host, Fred?
yes, I'm still the interim host, and this is the interim crew. We're all doing the best we can in a very difficult circumstance, but Jared's all right, everybody. He's okay. He's just working a lot. There's at his job, he has a lot of new responsibilities, and they are building a new location that he has to oversee. So he's been without a lot of free time, which is understandable because I'm in a very similar boat. But right now, this is the crew, and we are back together as a full crew right now. I'm manifesting it. So how's everybody doing out there? How are you, Brad?
I'm good.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. How about you, Brandon? It's been a little while.
Yeah, doing pretty good. Just got a little bit wonky of a work schedule lately, but nothing too bad. No real complaints.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around. How are you, Steven?
Well, I think I explained everything before we got to recording, but other than that, I'm good.
I'm glad to hear it. Are you willing to share the story on mic, or do you want to just move on?
Oh no. That's my little piece of life. I mean, I don't want to burden anybody with it. It's okay.
Okay, all right. We'll move right along. We've got some news to talk about. Namely, everyone's favorite big floating head is getting a second iteration, and I'm salty about it. There's a new Modoc, and for a guy who doesn't much care for the old Modoc, I'm what they're doing this a lot now, where they, instead of eradicating people or making them more or less relevant to the meta, they're just making a new one. They're doing it with Hulk, and now they're doing um a new Modoc.
Well, I don't think old
What do you?
Hulk's going anywhere.
I don't either. I don't either. I that's why, like, for a character who is so ubiquitous, you will see him quite a bit if you go to a tournament. Why are they making another one?
Because people love
Fred, I'll
Hulk.
counter.
Yeah.
Okay. They've already made another iteration of Steve from the core box and Red Skull, and Spider-Man, Black Widow, and Iron Man.
Yeah, but those are all good.
Are they? Black Widow
I
2 is
mean,
good?
no.
Okay. Bully Steve is good?
I mean, he's not awful.
But
He's not good. I've been pretty against every second printing of a character we already have. For the most part, it just seems like I would just rather see new characters than the old characters redone. But that's just been me the whole time. I don't really get it.
Counterpoint. Both of these sculpts are really good.
I mean, that's true. They have a better sculpt for Doc Ock also, who's
Yeah.
and I
Well,
like his new sculpt.
I have a theory about this Hulk and Modoc. So
Yeah.
we have two of those like train pack things, right? And there was Spider-Man, Doc Ock, and those were the same characters, new sculpts. And then they saw that that wasn't very popular because people wanted new rules with new sculpts. And so when we got another one, Sabretooth and
Logan.
yeah, they came with new rules. But that pack was
Okay.
number 3. The number 2 pack never came out. Now they could still be working on it, Or it could have been Hulk and MODOK. And they, instead of putting it in a pack like that, they just decide to separate them.
Okay, that makes some. Are Hulk and MODOK like thematically opposed to each other? Do they
Uh,
make sense as a boxed group?
MODOK fights everybody.
Right, and
Yeah.
technically so does Hulk.
Yeah. It's not
But
like the
that doesn't.
best pairing, but it's not bad.
Yeah. It's okay. Okay. I mean, what you're saying is very, very possible. That might be exactly
Or we could
what
see
happened.
Pack 2 come out later because they weren't planning to make new rules and then figure out they did, and so they held off on producing it till they had new rules for those models.
That's true. Okay. I do like the sculpts for both
They're cool.
Invincible Hulk and new MODOK. What's new MODOK's name? Do you have him open?
If you're on video, you see a picture of it. If you're not on video, search it out. It's pretty cool. He is MODOK's Scientist Supreme,
Yeah.
which is what
The
AIM calls their leader, which makes me think AIM leadership.
he's gonna be a new affiliation or a sub affiliation.
And if it's a
Uh,
new affiliation, we do have some models that have been members of AIM.
who's that? Who has been a
Well,
member of AIM?
okay, so there's been two types of AIM. There is the bad guy
What is
AIM.
for everyone who knows nothing about MODOK, raise his hand. What is AIM?
AIM is
Because my first thought is
advanced idea mechanics. It is a group of scientists who are trying to take over the world.
God, that sucks.
They were in Marvel was all about coming up with the acronym and then figuring out what in the world they could put for the letters.
Okay.
They're often called beekeeper outfits. They have these like yellow outfits and they have like a mesh over their faces so that they can see.
Okay.
They were
I think I
in.
know what you're talking about.
So there was a rumor in WandaVision when the beekeeper showed up that the one that crawled out of the sewers.
Okay.
Do you remember that? It was a guy in a
Nope.
beekeeper costume. Crawled out of the
I've
sewers.
not watched WandaVision.
Oh, really?
I have not watched it.
Anyway,
No.
some people thought it might be AIM. Other people thought it might be the Nazi made of bees. But it was neither.
Yo, Marvel is so crazy.
What?
It's part of its charm.
What's crazy about a Nazi made of bees?
I mean, I guess.
Nazi bees.
Yeah.
So the bad guy version of AIM has had a couple people, and I think Brandon has that list. So who have we seen on that list, Brandon?
On the like MODOK led AIM teams, the only people we have in the game are Red Skull for a brief stint, Taskmaster, and Baron Strucker. Baron Strucker and Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo briefly, I guess, led it in a recent Heroes Reborn reality, though a different reality.
Yeah.
Where Captain America and Bucky was actually Rebecca Barnes, or Ricky Barnes, so in a kind of a different reality. So not many.
Do you know what Heroes
members.
Reborn was?
No, I don't.
Heroes Reborn was a big event where Marvel spoofed DC.
Yeah.
So they had like a Superman and a Batman and all this stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. AIM at that point was led by Zemo and MODOK, and then Baron Strucker Red Skull and Taskmaster would be the only. So at that point, it would really just be kind of like a Hydra.
Yes. So I have the inside connection. So at one point, the superhero and former New Mutant, which is a group of X-Men, Sunspot, who inherited great wealth from his parents, he bought AIM. He just bought it. And he made them do good guy stuff instead. And he had a group of heroes that worked for him as part of AIM. And I guess technically they were called the New Avengers, but they worked for AIM. That includes people like Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor, Power Man.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if that is the new Power Man or if that is Luke Cage. Because there's a new guy that goes by Power Man now, but Luke Cage used to. Shang-Chi, which we will get at some point. Spider-Woman, that would be her 6th affiliation.
God.
Squirrel Girl and Tippy Toe, who are rumored to be coming out soon. So they're worth mentioning.
Did MODOK have anything to do with this?
No, MODOK had nothing to do with this.
So this whole spiel is vastly unimportant since none of them would be AIM affiliated with MODOK.
Well, that's not necessarily true because in the past, they've not necessarily put people who worked under that specific leader. Like,
Yeah.
as an
I
example,
don't
Deadpool and Cable have never been on a team of Avengers with any kind of Captain America as the leader.
I think it's very different to say that Deadpool and Cable have never been on the same side, and Hawkeye and MODOK have never been on the same side. I think those are extremely different things. Well, if
I don't
that
know.
is
We'll see.
our, yeah, we'll see. That is our
It's still, in my opinion, much more likely that it'll be a new leadership for a current affiliation just listed as AIM.
But that's probably
Like
going to be
Hydra.
Cabal. And do we need another Cabal leadership?
I mean, I'm hopeful that it's Criminal Syndicate.
It's probably not, though.
We
Well,
have one.
Cabal only
go-
has one leadership.
Yeah, we have one Cabal leadership.
Okay,
True.
that's fair. If X-Men have one, then Cabal have one.
All right, let's move on. We've talked enough about the big head in the chair. There is let's talk to Brandon first. Brandon, real quick, what's your take on Psylocke? Because you missed last episode.
So I have some notes that I made when I listened to the podcast.
Oh God. Okay.
At one point, it was mentioned that she was a better magic, which I will 100% disagree with. I think she's actually just a strictly worse version of magic because she costs a point more and does roughly the exact same thing. I don't think at any point you take her over magic. If you need a 4-point model that does similar things, you take Voodoo, which is the second point, that if you want a 4-point model with mystic attacks, you just take Voodoo. Voodoo is probably miles better than she is.
Okay.
And
Not
I
at
don't even
flip
think that's
scenarios.
close. I still think I take Voodoo. I don't know. Like, is he not just better at 4 points? I mean, is she better than Ancient One at 4 points?
Listen,
He has
no.
rerolls.
Because I'm not sure she's better than Ancient One at 4 points.
No.
I mean, that's fair. I think that there's. I don't think that we were super hot on her, but
Yeah.
I think that I was perhaps a little more up on her than I should have been. But I still think.
Fred,
No.
overly optimistic? Nah.
Me?
Yeah. Fred being overly optimistic? No way. Like, I don't think she's a terrible model, but like, I think there's just better models. Like, I just don't see like why you would play her. Like, I feel like you're playing her because you want to play her, and that's cool. Like, if you're playing her to like have the best 4-point model that does those things, like you're not doing that. Like, I think there's just a lot better options. Um, like, and then compared to the other models that have a similar ability combination between stealth and like martial artist, I think she's actually at the bottom of that barrel as well. Um,
Yeah.
like as the other 4-point model that comes to mind that has those similar abilities is Shadowland Daredevil, which has
Who
radar
does it
sense,
then?
which is just better. Yeah, which is just
Yeah.
better,
Yeah.
and does almost everything else just better. And has grunts, and yeah, it's just probably a lot better almost across the board. I think she's in the lower half of 4 threat models. Um, and I don't know when you would ever actually put her on the table.
X
And
Force.
not Yeah, I mean, depending on, some tactics cards and stuff, it might make it worthwhile. I mean, good tactics cards can make models a lot better. Um, we've seen that with a lot of models, but like, I don't see a world, I guess, where you would want to play her over Doctor Voodoo. Um,
Um, That's fair. That's entirely fair.
yeah, and I
Uh,
don't think and I guess at this point, the only one we're 100% sure of that she'll be affiliated in, she'll probably never see play in, unless you just want to play that model. I think she immediately
okay.
becomes almost the fifth best 4-point model in the X-Men affiliation.
Okay. So what is your letter grade?
I think she's a C minus.
Okay. Here we go. C minus.
Yeah, I just don't see her. I don't see her fitting in anywhere really unaffiliated. I don't see her fitting in affiliated. You can play her because you want to, and there are a lot of models in that kind of middling category that it's like they're gonna be meh, but like if you like them, play them. Like you're not like if you want to have fun and you really like Psylocke and you want to play her. Like
She's not going to be completely useless on the table,
yeah, like
like some models that are
and if you
in
have
X-Men
if you just
that
want to
we are
only
talking
play
about here.
X-Men, but like sure, you can play her. You can also play Cyclops. Like they might not be good, but you can do it.
Right.
There are worse models you can play.
We may cover one later.
Yeah,
Um,
this podcast is about one.
yep. Um, okay. That is a. I think that puts the average grade to an F plus now.
I was thinking like
Is
B
No,
minus. I think is what it
that's not how
works
that
out
works
to.
at all, Fred.
I okay. Well, let's move right along. Uh, who hasn't talked much? Steven,
Yes.
uh, do you have a subject for us to talk about today?
Yes, I
Maybe-
do, Fred. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Well, last week we explored character boxes that were worth 7 threat, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that was a little fun exercise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to now do model boxes that are only 4 threat in the total box.
Oh, okay. How many of those
All right.
are there?
Well, I'm going to have you guess. And Brad and Brandon, you can play along too.
Okay. Okay.
So, how many
Uh,
do you think, Fred?
how many do I think? I'm thinking. Okay. I don't know of any two that's packaged with a two, so this has to be individual models just packaged by themselves.
That
I
is
can
correct.
I can think of two off the top of my head right now. So assuming that I tend to judging by how I did last time, where I guess there were like three and there were 17 or some absurdly high number, I'm gonna say six.
Okay. Brad?
Are we doing Price is Right rules?
No.
Is he gonna bid 1?
I don't think there's 6. I think that's too many. I'm gonna go 3.
Okay. Brandon, do you have a guess?
I have the answer. Are we
Well,
Oh,
that's
not,
then you
not.
can't play.
are
You
we
know,
not,
don't.
do we have the? Are we? The only question I have is, are you counting the core box, like models that come in the core box?
No. These are just separate boxes that are from the core, that are not part of the core box.
Do you count? Do you count the Sentinels as one model or two?
2 models, because 2 models come in that box, right?
I
Yeah.
don't know that answer. I know you can build 2 models, but it's the same model, so I didn't know if that counted.
No, that would be a total threat of 8.
But it's the same model.
No.
It is the same model.
I don't think I don't think Brandon gets the game.
I don't think so either.
I think he gets the game.
Can I be the one who gets to tell Fred he's correct?
Yes, you can tell Fred he is
Wait,
correct.
really?
Yeah, there's 6.
Wait,
Yeah,
really?
the answer's 6.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
This is a wild guess, everybody. I had no idea.
yeah, it's Venom, Rhino, Omega Red, Kingpin, Mr. Sinister,
Kingpin.
and what's the other one?
Venom,
No,
He said
I
Venom.
made Venom. Yeah, Venom. I said
Green
Venom.
Goblin.
Green Goblin. Yeah, that's
Green
what-
Goblin. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what's really bad? I
Almost
think
all of them are
I-
Criminal Syndicate.
I think I
Spider-Folk.
have every single one of them. I think I have every one of them.
Okay. So why the reason I bring this up is because sometimes people like to build their collections a little bit more slowly. Sometimes 2 models is too much, but out of these models, which one do you think is the best out of the 6?
Kingpin.
Okay, so there's a right answer and there's the
It's-
answer that I'm going to give.
The right
So
answer
the
is
right
Kingpin.
answer is Kingpin. The right answer is Kingpin. And the answer that I'm going to give is Green Goblin because I'm playing the Spider Foes right now and I'm having fun with them.
Okay.
Venom is the answer. You can put Venom in any list and he's going to do work.
Brandon, what about you?
Kingpin and Venom are the best 2 models. Kingpin would be the option that I would choose.
Okay. All right. And which model do you think is at the bottom of the list of these?
Mr.
6.
Sinister. Mr. Sinister.
I am going to agree. I think it's Mr. Sinister.
It's your
Brad,
boy.
did you have an answer?
It's your boy Omega Red.
Yeah, you know, I was tempted. He's down there. He's down
Omega
there.
Red's better than Mr. Sinister.
Because Omega Red's very similar to Venom in some aspects, right?
But not as good. Like,
And
just.
But Omega Red does fly, so
No, you
No.
mean Mr. Sinister.
Mr. Sinister does fly. I mean, I'm sorry.
For no reason.
And I want to make this very clear. I don't think any of these models are bad. Like, I
No,
don't think Mr.
and that's why I
Sinister's a
chose
bad
them because you
model.
can't really make a wrong choice with any of these.
I think Mr.
Right.
Sinister's problem is he just doesn't really fit in anywhere. You can play Omega Red in Cabal or Criminal Syndicate, and you're not making a bad decision.
Right. I agree. I think Mr. Sinister might even have more place if he were just in more affiliations. Is he only Cabal?
Yeah.
Yes.
To be fair,
Yeah.
he doesn't really make sense to be in any affiliation.
They
I
could
mean,
have
that's
put him
fair.
in Brotherhood. Just as an X-Men
could.
villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has
Well,
he ever
Brotherhood would be a
worked
good
with
place.
Brotherhood?
No. But they made Cabal basically just Avengers villains. So,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Cabal's not like a real thing, so.
I mean, it is, but none of it, like,
British.
yeah.
Brad did just die out. That happened.
Yep.
Oh,
just
Am
exploded.
I back?
Yeah,
You're back.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I-
a lot of
I-
these guys are criminals or spider foes, but they're all villains, right?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, they're all villains.
They are all bad guys. There's not a good guy in the group. To be fair, if you look at the 4 threat models, a lot of them would be considered bad guys. I feel like just looking at this list, like I feel like a good 75% of these models are bad guys.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and I didn't realize that until I was looking over them. But like, so your 4 threat models, like you have Agent Venom, Ancient One, Beta Ray Bill are
Don't
all
go
good
through them
guys.
all. Don't go through them all. That's too
But I
many.
can do it. It's not too many. I'm like halfway done. It's so quick. I'm so fast at this. Bad.
It
Good,
is an. I
good,
think
good,
that
bad.
is an interesting idea, and it's one that we should talk about in a later topic. I think this is another topic for the future. Is why are so many 4 threats villains? Hey Brad, do you have any news on Cerebro?
Yeah, Android OS version 13 is a pain in the ass, and otherwise things are going well for the app. I might have to just disallow it for 13 until I can figure shit out.
Oh God, but that's what I use.
I'm sorry. I can't get the like they've changed a bunch of stuff about saving files, and so I can't get the images to download and be usable. Like
Huh.
the card
Okay.
images and stuff. I don't know what it is. And I bought an Android tablet to like figure this out because it was a problem on 12 as well. And Android 12 tablets are everywhere and cheap. So I bought one. I figured out the problem. Works on 12, still doesn't work in 13.
Well, crap.
If you have
Okay.
13, maybe we can get together sometime, Fred, and see if I can figure this thing out.
I don't. I actually don't.
Oh.
I have a 12.
Yeah, it works on 12. You'll be no problem.
Okay.
It's
All
those
right.
it's those Pixel users that have it like ahead of time, 13 ahead of time. Like
Uh-huh.
it's not working for them.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I'm sure that a solution will either create itself, or you'll figure it out,
Yeah.
or
It's just
they'll
hard
patch
it's hard to
everything.
figure out when I don't have access to the device.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, you're still working on it, but progress is being made, and yeah, let's move on to the games we've played recently. So, Brad, Steven, and I were recently in a tournament. We were at the Charleston tournament this past Saturday, and uh, we were joined by Ryan, and it was just the 4 of us, but we had a great time. And Brad won again because that's what Brad does. But
If I
I,
don't show up, that's what Brad does. Let's make it.
well, Brandon, you've got to show up to win.
I showed up at the last one, and I played
You
win.
did.
I played a game. I have 2 games to talk.
Okay. Well, do you want to start us off? Do you want to talk about your games?
No, y'all can talk about your tournament.
Okay. We were joined by Ryan, and it was a great time. I was playing Spider Foes. Steven, why don't you say who you were playing?
Oh, I was doing my Midnight Suns, and hold on a second, I got something here. Go ahead.
Okay. Brad, who were you playing?
I played X-Men, of course. I actually played X-Men Brotherhood because I was making changes to my X-Men list and I was looking at the breakdowns on Cerebro, which you can now in settings set to show you thumbnails instead of words. But I was looking at that feature because someone requested it. I was making sure it worked. And I noticed that Mystique was showing up as my leader, and I'm like, wait, I can play Brotherhood? And so I did play Brotherhood one of the rounds. I lost that round.
And Ryan was there playing
Asgard.
Asgard.
Yep.
Yeah. And the my first round was against Steven.
Correct. Yes,
And
I'm back.
okay. We had an extremely close match, and it was I pulled it out, but it was could have gone either way until the very end of that game. It was
Yeah, I wasn't ready for Black Swan. I've only played her once before, and I played her when I was playing Spider Foes. So
Yeah, and I gotta say, so I did make a change to my Spider Foes list. I played Black Swan. Black Swan with the Power Gem rules with Spider Foes. She was great in every game I brought her. She did a ton of work. Uh, I played against Brad second. That is a game that I was never going to win, but I could have done a lot better had I remembered that I have the card Well Laid Plans.
Oh,
Uh,
well-laid plans would have possibly turned that game around.
yeah, I
You
I
definitely
forgot that
could
I
have
could
won
do
that game. I watched half of that game. You 100% could have won that game.
Yeah, if I had just remembered to play Well Laid Plans, I would have won. And then I played against Ryan the third round, and that was another incredibly close match. And it came down to I had to take out Thor with Green Goblin in order to win, and Thor had 8 health, and I somehow rolled incredibly well and took him out. So I won that game for just that reason, just because Green Goblin came through in a clutch. How did your games go, Steven?
well, as you iterated, you and I faced off in the first round, and then I faced Ryan in the second round against Asgard again. I was not familiar with Beta Ray Bill, and just not having familiarity with characters tends to be my downfall. I got beat pretty handily on scenario in that game because I'm a good old fashioned player who wants to play attrition, right? So um, don't do that anyway. And then I played Brad in my third game, which he decided to play Brotherhood for some reason. And Brad, if you want to take it from there.
Oh, let's talk about my first round against Ryan because it hasn't been talked about. And I went hard on scenario with my X-Men like I always do, and I managed to score 6 points a round and win in 3 rounds. Um, Ryan did not push hard on a scenario, and that's why I told him after the game that he should. Then third round
He
when I
certainly.
played Steven obviously learned something his second game because he went hard on scenario. It was what's the Inferno portals? Demons
Demon
Downtown.
Portal.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Demons Downtown, which is
Inferno.
bad
Oh my gosh.
for me. Um, and I thought he was gonna play like a Ghost Rider or even a Hulk, and he went just as wide as me, and it worked out for him that he did that.
Yeah, I took Voodoo though, who is immune to the incinerates.
Yeah,
So
Voodoo was a pain in the butt, but I knew that already.
it felt like cheating, honestly.
It was rough for me.
But you finally figured out that Wong was the key to that list.
Yeah, I was going after Wong pretty hard. Um, and I don't
But
feel bad about it.
but I think you would have beat me, Brad, if I didn't have that good Siege of Darkness play.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had got Blade like out in the middle of nowhere, and he double moved to be relevant, and I'm like, good, that's like a whole round of not anything with Blade. And then he played Siege of Darkness and tacked me with his whole list.
Yeah.
So and put a lot of damage out.
Yeah, Rogue went down pretty quick
Yeah.
in that game.
Well, Brandon, did you say you recently had 2 games?
I did. I played a game last week against Aaron playing Midnight Suns. We played 19 points. He played. Who did he play? He played Blade, Ghost Rider, Domino. 12, 7 points. It was a 4-3. Oh, goodness gracious. Don't remember. What was the other 4 he played?
Well, you don't have to go through every
Yeah, I know,
list.
but it's
You
kind of relevant, unfortunately, or I want it.
Okay.
Yeah, else did he? I don't remember who else he played. All right, I can make it not relevant. It's fine. And then I played Criminal Syndicate. We played on. We played 19 points. We played Intrusions incorrectly, which made the game a lot longer than it probably should have been. And I don't know, some other extract that I
Were
don't
you
know.
taking
They were
damage
holding.
every time you went through?
Yeah, we were taking damage. Yeah, we were taking damage and stuff, and we weren't going. I wasn't going through because of that. But at 19 points, I played Bullseye, Beta Ray Bill, Ulick, Rhino, and Kingpin, um, which is a list that can kill stuff. And at the end of the game, he had Ghost Rider, who got revived, left, and I had Kingpin with 1 health left, Rhino with 5 health left, and that's it. That was the end of the game. There was
Oh,
actually a scenario that he could have, if he could have killed both of them, in one attack each, and he would have immediately won the game. Um, in a game he should not have won on points. I ended up winning that one on scenario. I played the exact same list into Hydra, playing Portals and Research Station, um, against Michael this past week, which was a super close game. Again, came down to Kingpin was on the table, Ulick was on or Rhino. Rhino and Kingpin were the only models I had left, and he had. I killed Hulk. I killed Red Skull. I think he had Baron Zemo left. I think Baron Zemo was his only model left. Brad, do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
Thanks for contributing. Um,
Sorry. I was talking to Autumn.
yeah, he was distracted most of the match, but we played that and I won that game on points. The points weren't super close, but there was a turn where if Hulk actually killed Beta Ray Bill. He killed Beta Ray Bill, Dazed, Rhino, and Kingpin in the same activation.
I mean, that's what a Hulk does. Hulk does
Yeah,
stuff like that. What
that's
what were your thoughts on Ulick and Beta Ray Bill in your list?
so I did specifically play that point level. So I chose the point level against Aaron because of I wanted to play those models. And then it just happened to be 19 again, um, against Hydra, which they don't go super wide to outscore, so I could then I could play that Ulick. Um, I don't love Ulick at all. He's fine. He's sturdy-ish. He
He's
doesn't
a lot of
he doesn't really hit all that hard. Like it feels like underwhelming because you're not really doing his spinders, so you're just doing his pounders attack, which doesn't feel great. Only being able to throw terrain didn't feel great. Uh, you can move around, but at 5 points, there's probably not much of a world that I'd rather. Um, like so, Ulick and Bullseye is 7 points, and that's probably almost always better as Lizard and Shadowland Daredevil, um, and that's what's hard. So like it's just there's a better 7 points you can invest. I don't think he's bad. I don't think I'm gonna take him out of the roster because I mean there are matchups where you want to be able to move around and do everything, and I think he comes into play. And Beta Ray Bill's amazing. Um,
yeah.
the I didn't realize how fun Summon the Storm is just when you like. Oh, he had Doctor Voodoo. That's why it was relevant. Aaron played Doctor Voodoo. That's his 4 point model, and Beta Ray Bill just obliterated him with Summon the Storm, which is a range 4/6 dice, 2 power attack. They gets to reroll 2 dice, including skull results if they have flight, and it gives them shock. Uh,
Ah, okay.
So it's
There
got
it
a wild
is.
shock with 2 rerolls. Yeah, so you're rolling 6 dice at range 4 with 2 rerolls, and giving voodoo shock feels good. So it just kind of, and then being able to throw a size 4 terrain or character. Yeah, I think Beta Ray Bill is still the better option compared to Ulick. I think Ulick's fine. The only concern I have, I don't know if Ulick's necessarily better than Modok at 5 in the list, but I do like the movement is really clutch. Like he does move a lot, which is really nice. Um, Getting your Shatter trigger on Shatter Mountain, Shatter Bones, the spender for Ulick is a pipe dream. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's hit crit or crit hit wild skull, so like, but giving an activated token is is good.
Yeah,
It's very good. If you can do that to a Hulk, I mean, that's game changing. So
well,
Yeah.
there are models that do it actually better. So I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm
Uh,
not models that do better in Criminal Syndicate. I played Scuttlebutt on me both games, which is just it's not good. Don't play it. Uh, I actually was very it's probably much better with Scourge than it is with him. You're using your power with Beta Ray Bill entirely too often. Summon the Storm and God Hunter at 2 and 3 power, plus the terrain enemy throw at 3 power, as well as the reduction costing a power. You're not going to have the power to make that a very good scuttlebutt attack. So like, just don't take it. I tried it twice. I didn't realize how much you're wanting to use his power in his activation. Like I kind of knew it, but like there's really not even a scenario where you're like holding the power. Just play cruelty. It's just better.
okay. Well, let's. Is there anything else? Any other games that
I
anyone would like to
did
bring up?
because I played Michael's Hydra right after Brandon,
Yeah.
and I'll make it very quick. We
I don't
played
make it quick.
what?
I don't make anything quick.
No, you don't. Uh, I played Weapon X against Michael's Hydra. He did not play Secret Hulk. He played the double Got Your Back, which I've played into a couple times, so I know what to expect. Uh, an early game, Michael attritioned me hard, flipped all my characters, made me take Proxima Midnight off the table. But once my guys were flipped, they survived pretty well, and I got to attrition him back. At the end of the game, I still had Domino, X-23, and Logan on the table, and he only had the Howling Commandos.
The
Oh
game made
boy.
the game made literally zero sense if you watched it. Like I don't know how that happened. Like, and I watched the
I
whole
was
game
so
and
far
wasn't
behind.
distracted.
I was so far behind on attrition. Like a
Part
couple
of me thinks
turns,
that Brad cheated.
into the game, and then it just turned around. I was rolling blocks. I was rolling attacks. Who was it that killed Red Skull and almost killed Red Guardian? Logan. Logan was staggered, killed Red Skull, and almost got Red Guardian.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
Red
Yeah.
Guardian did not get to do anything in our game that I played Michael except for use his tactics card. Like he moved up turn 1, dazed on turn 2, died on turn 3. He was just he like, and it wasn't like because we were playing research, so like there was just a cluster, so he was just kind of in the middle, and I think I threw Hulk into him once and just like attacked him once, and he just like died. Like I know he's good, and that was kind of the reason I wanted to get him off the table, but
I mean,
I
he drew your attacks. That's worth something.
I
And he, yeah.
I mean I won the game and everybody else was dead too, so.
I
Fair.
I think I
Baron Zemo didn't die because Baron Zemo he lined up against just Bullseye, so he killed Bullseye.
Go ahead, Brad.
Sorry,
I
didn't mean
think
to
that Red Skull dazed without me rolling any dice.
What?
Yeah, I didn't roll any dice to daze Red Skull.
You just threw stuff at him?
It
He
Sabretooth
threw Sabretooth at him.
Sabretooth threw Red Guardian at him and then threw himself at him.
Yep.
That dazed him. He didn't roll any any blocks on either
So
of those.
so
Oh man.
I have played a lot of games against Hydra, and I think Red Skull Master of Hydra is amazing, but like he's not super hard to kill, and when he dies, like like Hydra crumbles. Like I know it's
Yeah.
kind of like funny and thematic, but
That is accurate. This is accurate. Having been on the other side of things, having been playing Hydra Red Skull affiliation a lot, that is correct. When you lose Red Skull, you've basically lost, unless you're way ahead at that by that point.
yeah, and it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. It never feels like. And maybe it's just they don't have a great matchup in the Criminal Syndicate, which I think is the only thing I've ever played against them. Uh, and it doesn't feel like the other models do a whole lot in that matchup. So it's kind of like he just dies, and then it's just like, okay, now what are you gonna do?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move along. We've spent enough time here in games recently played segment. Is there any other segment that we need to cover before we move into our topic today, which is Jean Grey? I don't think there is, so let's move right along. So the person that we are doing today is a mutant, and she is Jean Grey. Her name is Jean Grey. She has 6 stamina. She moves medium. She is size 2. She has a threat value of 5, and her defenses are physical 3, energy 4, and mystic 5. Hey, Brad, why
Yeah.
don't you take the attacks?
Okay. Her first attack is Mystic. It's Psionic Bolt. Range 4, 5 dice. It's a standard builder. So she gains power for the damage dealt. And it has sap power. So before damage is dealt, for each wild, she steals a power from the character. Her other attack is Telekinetic Force. Range 3, 9 dice, cost 6. Before damage is dealt, if the character is size 4 or less, you throw it away from the target 4. May throw the target away 4, away from her 4. And then it has explosive, wild.
Short.
What? Yeah, short.
Throw it away short.
Short,
Yeah.
small, same thing. Anyway, short, wild, explosive. 4 damage is dealt. Other characters within 2 uh, take 1 damage. I was just rereading that. So both of those are before damage is dealt, so you can choose what order they go in.
Yes, that's
Which
the
is
important part.
Yeah, which is neat.
Yep. Hey, Steven, why don't you take the next 2 superpowers?
Okay. So first, we have an active superpower called Battlefield Manipulation. It will cost you 3 power. And choose an interactive terrain feature of size 4 or less and within 3 and throw it medium. This superpower can only be used once per turn. And her second active power is called Matter Transmutation. Choose another character with an activated token within 2 and push it small. A character can only be affected by this superpower once per turn, moved by the superpower once per turn, and that costs 3.
All right. And Brandon, why don't you take the rest of the card?
Did he read Shield Mod?
No, he has not.
Okay, sorry. I was paying attention. I swear. Shield Mod. It costs 2 power. It's a reactive superpower. When this character or an allied character within range 4 of it would be advanced, placed, or pushed by the effects of an enemy mystic attack or enemy superpower, you may use this superpower. The allied character is not advanced, pushed, or placed. Latent psychic potential is a. She always got that. During the power phase, she gets an additional power, and she has flight.
All right, so
And
that's Jean Grey.
she gains a health on the back. She's
Yeah,
Oh,
7
she
yeah.
gets
health.
the 7 health on the back. No
Yep.
other
So
changes.
that puts her at 13 total stamina for 5 threat
Too bad
and
she
middling.
still dies.
Yeah, I know. Is she okay? Let's talk about this because this may be the worst model in the game. uh, she's the problem here is I think that they built her without any context for how squishy she is. I don't understand how she even made it to the table with 5 threat.
There's only one other 5 threat model who doesn't have rerolls and has the same health pool as same or less of a health pool as she is. And the 5
Who's
threat.
that?
Scarlet Witch.
Oh, right,
And
Scarlet
Scarlet
Witch.
Witch is better.
Yeah, she gets 12.
Everything else on her card is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing is she doesn't. So every model that has the same or less has some sort of defensive tech. There are a lot of 6/7s, like Amazing Spider-Man is 6/6. There are a lot of 6/7s, a lot of 6/6s, like Amazing Spider-Man. Both Doctor Stranges are 6/6, but they all have like defensive,
Stuff.
like rerolls and stuff like that. She doesn't do anything. She has the health pool of a 4 threat model. Her defenses are good, and that's about where the card ends up being good.
I don't even know if her. I mean,
That-
she has good energy and mystic defense, but she only has 3 physical defense, which is the most common attack.
That psionic bolt builder, that's a good attack on a 4-point model.
Yeah, and it's one of the worst builders on a 5 threat model.
Yeah.
Even Black Bolt has Pierce. Like
Well,
Amazing Spider-Man gets rerolls.
Modoc's is the same, and it's the same range, but it's 1 dice better.
Yeah. And
if it had
can
another
modify and
die,
change his dice.
it'd be a lot better.
So, all right. Why do you? We're saying some bad stuff about her. There's some stuff on here that's neat. I think her spender is neat. The fact that you get to trigger, you get to choose how you want that to trigger. It makes it pretty good. But there are better
cost
spenders.
1 less.
Yeah, it should definitely cost 1 less. I'm looking at this and I keep thinking to myself, why is she 5 points? And can you guys like, why is she 5 points? What on here says that she needs to be 5 points?
Here's why she's 5 points, Fred. And I'll explain it very simply. They didn't know what they were doing yet.
Yeah, that's the only explanation.
I don't think that's a good explanation because there were a lot of good models that came out around the same time that were much better than she is and much better designed.
Well, I think she was just designed earlier than them, and then they put her away to release later. I think the X-Men were designed very early and then released later.
What's your take, Steven?
Well, I think they put too much emphasis and value on the anti-movement tech.
Yeah, the tech that now Emma has at 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
I pay very close attention to what X-Men list people are playing. And Jean Grey recently was getting played. And the only reason she was getting played was that superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Now she is definitely not going to get played. Because they can have that superpower for 1 threat cheaper. On a model that is better.
Yeah, arguably a better model top to bottom.
Listen, if you read the comics, it's no surprise that Jean Grey's been around for a while, and then Emma Frost comes in and eats her lunch.
What about her? Does she eat her box?
No.
We're back on this again.
Anyway,
no, they share a man, but they don't do anything together, as far as I can tell.
Anyhow, Honestly, I think matter transmutation should cost 2 power. Um,
And shouldn't be
the
an activated model. You should be able to do it
yeah,
on anyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think she
That
should have got Modoc defense, as in like the Wildstone count.
That would be fine. That'd be
she needed some sort of defensive tech for sure.
yeah.
Um,
I have
like this is
actually
the thing. You change nothing. It's hard to like if you change nothing but the threat value, you probably have to go down to 3 for her to be playable. Um, if you change stuff on the card, you end up changing almost everything to make her worth 5 points because you're gonna have to change telekinetic force to probably 4 power or 5, probably 4 for it to be worthwhile. Matter transmutation should probably be 2. Um, and then even then, I'm not sure she's good. Uh,
and give her some
yes,
defensive tech.
yeah, and then you're gonna have to add a whole box of like
Yeah.
against mystic attacks, this character rerolls 2 dice.
No, give her Modoc tech. Don't
I
count wilds.
the thing is, the Modoc tech is entirely too good.
Oh, I agree.
Like,
It's way too good. It's
like that.
disgusting.
Like there was a time in this game where Modoc was the most broken model in the game, and that was for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like Modoc
He's
got
gross.
nerfed pretty heavy.
So
Yeah,
I
It
have
needed to-
I have put Jean on the table several times, not anytime recently.
Probably more than anybody should have.
Probably more than anyone should have. I even took her to a tournament and played her in a tournament, maybe 2, and like she was just a liability. She
Yeah.
was just bad.
Yeah. So she has 2 cards that are for her as well. Let's go over them real quick. The first one is called it's just someone shouting Jean. It's Cyclops shouting Jean at the sky, holding her dead body, which seems appropriate.
Not dead.
When an allied it's an unaffiliated card and it's reactive. When an allied Jean Grey is dazed or KO'd, after the effect is resolved, an allied Cyclops or Wolverine may play this card. The character that played this card may immediately perform an attack. I mean, that's not bad. That's
will
nice.
get dazed and KO'd. You will definitely get to play this card.
Right. The downside is you have to have Cyclops or this specifies Wolverine, right? So you can't take Logan.
No, doesn't work with Logan.
Well, so you have to take 2 of these 3 underwhelming models for this card to be effective.
At 9 threat.
Right. So let's move past that one. The other card that has she is on a card with Cassandra Nova, I think.
Yes.
No, yeah. It's Mental Domination, and it is an attack card. It is unaffiliated, and during their activation, Cassandra Nova or Jean Grey may spend 3 power to play this card. Choose an enemy character within range 3 of this character, advance the chosen character short, then the character that played this card makes the above attack. When measuring range and line of sight for this attack, measure from the chosen character, not the attacking character, and then add dice to the attack roll equal to the physical defense of the chosen character. You may reroll any number of opposing defense die in the defense roll. That is a lot of business, first off. The attack is range 2 with 2 it throws 2 dice. And oh boy, it's not great. You get to add
it's an attack outside of your 2 actions. That
was going to be
that displaces a character. So it's not bad.
Okay.
It is not worth taking Jean for, but it is not bad.
I was worried that it said that it cost an activation, but it doesn't.
No, it does not cost an action.
Okay. Well, then that's better. It's better than I thought. It's still it's underwhelming. Who do you think is the best target for it? Someone with a huge
Yeah,
physical defense.
obviously.
Yeah, but who? Like,
Carnage.
oh yeah,
Carnage is a
Carnage. And
pretty good one.
I think it's the best one. Yeah, there. You know what? There are not a lot of people who have 5 physical defense.
No,
There are not a lot of people.
that is not something you can search on Sri, bro.
5 physical defense.
Yeah, the only one that I can think of off the top of my head is Carnage.
I believe it is Carnage is the only one who can.
Yeah, I don't think that's something that comes up very often.
There are
That's
a lot of
interesting.
4s. I don't
Yeah.
believe there's a 5. If there is, it's at 6th rank. And I don't think the one I'm thinking of is. No, he's 4. Okay. Yeah, there are.
Well,
all
yeah.
4s.
So those are the 2 cards. Neither one of them saved this character. This character's bad. Everyone, this character's a bad character. Let's move on to our letter grades, unless we have anything else to talk about.
I have one more point to make.
Okay.
She
Go
bad.
ahead.
She bad.
The odds of us getting another Jean Grey card another Jean Grey card very high. The odds of it being worse than this one are borderline impossible.
We are a new Jean Grey is on the rumor sheet.
Huh.
It's
Okay.
It's Phoenix.
Which is
Oh,
what
yeah.
it should have been from the very beginning.
No, Jean Grey not being Phoenix is fine, but this ain't it.
Not this one. Yeah, it just feels weird because like if this was developed even at the same time as like Wolverine at 4th threat, it just feels like how do you justify her? Like at that point, it feels like you were putting models in threat categories based on the defense they were rolling, because that's like the only thing she's really got going for her, is like she has a higher than average of 5 threat characters of like total dice you roll in defense, rolling 3, 4, 5. And that's about where any advantage ends. Like the top part of her card isn't bad in 5 threat model land. Like the 6 health, 6 and 7, move medium, size 2, 5 threat, like 3, 4, 5. Doesn't isn't poor. Like those are the same number. Like Ebony Maw only rolls 2 defensive dice on physical attacks. But guess what he has? Nothing makes sense on this model.
Oh, if she had the Ebony Maw rule, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where
that
she
would
gets
make
to use
sense
her-
for her.
And it
too.
would make sense because she makes telekinetic shields all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it just feels weird. And then not getting in a like I don't know. It's hard to even justify putting her in like. I think what explain the fact that X-Men can play her just to play Shield Mind, is pretty good, right? Like that's pretty impressive. Like that they're that good that they can play this literally, in my opinion, probably the worst model in the game
Oh yeah, just
and
for
get away
one
with it because of
superpower.
how good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's that you can, but you can use it every turn. Like it's online at all times.
Yeah.
Like she gets the 2 power to do it. Like it's always online.
It was specific tech for someone, and I can't remember right now.
It was somebody going against a Thanos.
Thanos, yeah, it was anti-Thanos tech.
Huh. Okay. Well, Brandon, you were on a roll there. What's your letter grade?
She's an F.
An
Yeah,
F.
I think the box is an F that you can buy her in. I don't think you buy her box ever. I don't think you ever put her in a roster. I don't like. I think she's just bad all the way around.
I have
you wanna
2 of
play
these
Jean Grey?
models.
Brad has bought 200% of the models that have ever been sold that have Jean Grey.
And Cassandra Nova is okay in Sentinels if you want to be playing Sentinels.
Yeah.
Cassandra Nova is miles the better model in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
guess
she
what?
doesn't get
She's
played
not very
much.
good.
Yeah, no.
Wait. Is this the only 10 threat box?
I was about to make that point that this is a 10-point box.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
I'd have to check.
There's no way there's another one because you'd have to have like a 2 5s again, or a 6 and a 4.
Yeah, there's no 6
There's
and
no
4.
way.
Yeah, no.
Well,
All right.
Well, I guess that episode for me is done. So
Well, Steven, what's your letter grade for Gene?
D minus minus minus. I will get the box at some point in time, and I will paint her, and that's it.
You
Okay.
could just buy the model. I'm sure you can buy one on eBay for like next to nothing.
Oh, but I'm the shiny toy guy, so
I know. I'm just trying to not ink. The one thing I actually have said before, I know I'm going on a tangent, I think it's kind of funny. This might at one point be the most expensive box in my Marvel Crisis Protocol because no one has ever bought it. There's a chance that like it could kind of just go out of print and like there just aren't copies of it because nobody ever bought it and like they just got like
oh, got to get my Cassandra Nova for Spider Foes.
Now hold on. This is bad economics that you're talking about because that means the supply and demand. That means there needs to be a demand for the price to go up. Someone has to be willing to pay for it.
it's
And I
kind
don't
of
think
it's
anyone is.
but this is the thing. This is what because that's what happens all the time is because when you can't get something, people want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Brad, what's your letter grade?
Oh, she's an F. Big fat F.
Yeah.
The only
Uh-huh.
model I will probably give an F to unless they make something this bad again, which seems unlikely.
Right.
Did you give Crossbones an F?
I may have.
I think he may have.
I
he...
don't think that he did. I think that I was mad at everyone for not giving him an F.
You were not mad at me. I gave him an F.
Okay.
You were
Well,
not. You were
Crossbones is an
not.
F,
We'll
and Jean Grey is an F.
we'll fact check that at some point. I'll fact check that for next week to confirm what those grades were. He may not have. I think he may have gave him a D or even a little bit higher. I agree with Brad. I don't know if there's another F model in the game. And to be fair, Crossbones compared to her, he's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I agree.
Which
I
is,
give both of them an F, but her F is a lot lower than his.
F minus.
yeah, and the only other model in that territory is probably like Viper, and Viper again is miles better than she is.
I think Viper's miles better than both of them, but yeah, I'm a Jean F. I think that we're pretty well down here on Jean, because she's just never gonna see the table. She's just not useful at all. And anything that she offers, there are better options for in faction now.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just there's no reason to ever get her. There's no reason. So unless you want to complete an X-Men collection, that is our take on Jean.
Pat, you want to know what the average was then?
What is the average, Brad?
Garbage. Put her in the trash.
Hey yo.
Average garbage.
I will say that this model has probably been purchased, I would say probably 90% to paint and build and never to play.
Yes. And you know what? That is entirely valid because MCP makes gorgeous models.
They do make really
Like
nice
the new
models that
Modok.
paint up, that look beautiful when they're painted up too, for the record.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not by me, but like when other people paint them.
Yeah, same. All right, so Brad, do you have any comic book recommendations?
I have
involving Jean?
I have 2 today. I didn't even like have to do research. I knew exactly what 2 comics I was going to recommend. So the first,
Okay, all right, everyone. So this is a Scott Summers related individual. So everyone take a seat and get comfortable.
listen,
Yeah.
she has had 0 of Scott Summers' children in this reality.
Okay.
She didn't. A clone of her had Cable. An alternate universe version of her had Rachel Summers. So, okay. X-Men Season 1 is my first recommendation. It's by Dennis Hopeless Hallam and Jamie McKelvey. And this is a retelling of the first several issues of X-Men ever. But they're told in a more modern style with modern art. And it changes the perspective to be from Jean Grey's perspective instead of just an omniscient narrator. And if you want to read early X-Men stories, like of the original 5 members, you should just read this instead of the actual comics. Unless you already know that you can enjoy old comics, like I have grown an appreciation for them, you should skip them and just read this. And then start with Giant Size X-Men number 1 and go. The other recommendation is called X-Men Red by Tom Taylor, Mahmoud Asrar, and Stefano Casilli. Jean Grey is back from the dead again, and she's not real happy with what Wolverine and Cyclops are doing with their individual X-Men teams. And so she forms her own team separate from them and goes about trying to do Xavier's dream of integration with the humans. The person that she's trying to stop mostly is Cassandra Nova, who's trying to make humans hate mutants even more and kill them because Xavier liked mutants. He's dead at this point. Scott killed him.
Can I chime in for a second?
Yeah.
Can you tell the people who the fuck Cassandra Nova is? Because no one knows who she is.
Okay, yes. Cassandra Nova is Professor Xavier's twin sister.
I did not know that, for the record.
Yeah. His twin sister, who he killed in the womb because he detected how evil she was. He strangled her with the umbilical cord.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So
he was mature enough to make moral judgments and then murders his sibling?
Yes.
That is literally the definition of the first, murder.
So that is also the most Xavier thing that could have possibly happened.
So you're saying that the X-Men are the race of Cain?
I am saying that Xavier is holier than thou. And everything he does is for the moral good.
Okay.
And he knows it's for the moral good, so it doesn't matter. The ends justify the means.
Wow.
That is very Xavier. Anyway, her psychic essence survived the murder. The fetal side? I don't know if that's a real word, but we're going with it.
It would be sororicide, killing your sister.
Oh, sure. And then, so her psychic essence lived. She built herself a new body out of sewer junk. And then the first thing she does to, premiere is she gets a bunch of Sentinels to kill, 6 million mutants on Genosha. And then she takes over Xavier's body and outs him as a mutant. And then starts a space war.
And that's pretty metal.
I mean, yeah. So that's what Cassandra Nova is. Anyway, she can't torment Xavier because Scott Summers killed Xavier. And so she's trying to destroy his favorite things, which are mutants. And then Jean Grey tries to stop him. And I'm actually going to spoil the end of the book right here because it's hilarious. The way she finally stops Cassandra Nova is she gives Cassandra Nova the gift of empathy.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I could feel myself tripping over it, and I just needed to pause for a second. So she gives Cassandra Nova empathy, and Cassandra Nova's like, "I've done bad things," and then she like runs away crying.
That's has. Oh, you know what?
I'd be so
Okay.
pissed if I read a book that I really liked and that's how it fucking ended. I feel
The
like I'm
book,
just chiming in with like anger. I'm not angry at all. Like I just want to make that very clear. I just feel like I'm chiming in
the the
with my
book
Have
is
anger
you-
good, or
aggression.
I would not recommend it. It is a fucking weird ending.
Mild spoilers incoming for the show, The Sandman on Netflix. But I gotta say, he does a similar thing to all of the world's serial killers, and I think that moment kind of fucking rules.
It worked much better in Sandman than it does in this
Yeah, it
comic.
really did.
Yeah. This is
It's not nearly as bad of an ending as Looper.
this is probably my favorite Jean story. Like, I really like her here. She is flawed in her reasonings, but she's like trying to do the good thing. Like, she truly believes that all people are good deep down, and I think the real world proves that that's not true, but she's like trying to be optimistic and trying to do the right thing and trying to give people a chance, and like it's the Gene I want to see. So
She's also in a world with Red Skull, right?
yeah, she is.
Just making sure.
Yeah, do you guys know about Red Skull? Do you know that he stole Xavier's brain so that he could have telepathy?
Oh my god. this
I don't
this
think Red
world.
Skull has ever done anything positive in his entire existence.
So let me explain that at one point after Xavier's death, his soul was in heaven, hanging out with Nightcrawler. His brain was in Red Skull's head, and his psychic essence was trapped on the astral plane by a villain called Shadow King that I'm sure we'll get in this game eventually. Uh, and is eventually put into someone else's body. So
Oh boy.
Marvel
Okay.
has showed that the brain, the psychic essence, and the soul are all different things.
The Ha Ka and the I don't know, whatever. All right, well, let's move on. Hey, Brandon, do you have any lists that you want to put her into?
If you have to play this model and you want to get the most out of her, play her with Steve in the Avengers. Make her stuff
Okay.
cheaper. It'll feel better. If you have to play her with Steve in Avengers.
I was expecting no.
I thought about that for the record. It was real close to just like don't play her. But like I understand, and we talked about this last night. This game is mostly played by people who are playing for fun. If you love Jean Grey as a model, as a character, as a model, and you don't really care about playing competitive, you're just playing with your friends or whatever. You bought the core set, you have Steve Rogers, you bought Jean Grey because you love her. You can play them together, and and like she is much better. She is playable in that affiliation, as long as you don't own like any other Avengers model. That's just better, or any other model that's in the game.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
That's
they
better.
own
But
Crossbones if they bought that core set, and he is better.
no, listen, if they bought just the core set and her, they literally own some of the worst models in the entire game. Like they're not doing too hot on like good play. But again, this game is a game that's for fun. I know we talk about competitive a lot and we try to make the best out of everything. Um, which uh, there is coming soon. We are going to have a kind of a spin-off podcast that will be debuting within the next couple weeks, which will be strictly about list building, um, character selection, tactics card selection, and crisis selection. I'll be starting that sooner than later. I have everything set up and ready to go, so we're just kind of building the logistics and getting people signed up for it to be able to record that. Um, we will primarily focus against models like Jean Grey going into your list. But the point of this podcast is, we want to find a home, give you an idea if you do want to play these models and you are listening to these casts. And I do think Steve Avengers is the best place for Jean Grey if you have to play that model.
All right, and I gotta say I look forward to being on that podcast with you, or at least being one of your guests at some point.
Yes,
I would love to be on. All right, let's finish up. I guess what I'm gonna bring today, I'm going back to B movies. I'm gonna do some B movies here coming up. So. What I'm bringing today is a little found footage movie from about a decade ago now. That's called Chronicle.
Yes, I was hoping when you said found footage, that was what you're gonna say.
Okay, yes. So this movie is about some high school students who suddenly, through no fault of their own, become superheroes. They gain powers, specifically telekinesis. And it's about how one of them specifically starts to go off the rails and kind of becomes a supervillain. And it's actually a very good movie. I mean, let's be frank, this isn't an outstanding movie, but it is a good watch, and it's worth watching. So if you can track it down.
I love this movie. It's my favorite found footage movie by far.
It is, well, okay. I do like this movie an awful lot. It is not my favorite found footage movie, but it is a good movie, and you should watch it. It is called Chronicle, and track it down somewhere. I don't know where you could find it. I didn't do that much homework.
Yeah, you can get it on Blu-ray on Amazon for really cheap. Because I did.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's it for today for what might be the worst character we ever do. So it's all uphill from here for everyone. Yeah. All right. Everyone have fun out there.